Here are 5 insanely hard platinums you never heard of. I'm scared to go for these because I might end up having to punch holes in the wall. The first game on the list is a game called Atari Flashback Classics Volume 2. So here I have a trailer for the game. I'm not sure if this is the Volume 2 version or if this is like Volume 1 or whatever. But generally, this is what you'll be looking at if you pick this game up. Now, this game is a 10 out of 10 and it's at the number 1 spot. The number 5 spot is ridiculous. But the reason this is at the number 1 spot because it says it would only take 20 hours. And also, I was reading the trophy guide and there's a save exploit you can use to help you with this. Apparently, the hardest part of this game are the bosses. The trophy guide refers this to be as the most brutal stage that you may ever experience. These trophies are ridiculously difficult and should only be attempted by those who are willing to use the exploit to help them. Without the exploit, you may be looking at moments of screaming and possible controller smashing trying to get these. Good luck and go for these if you dare. That is daunting. For anyone who likes a challenge, I encourage you to try this. It's only $13 right now too on the PlayStation Store, so you can pick that up. At the number 2 spot is a game called La Mulana X. My first impressions of looking at this game was it reminded me of like Spelunky. The trophy guide describes it as a Metroidvania game. The difficulty for this is a 9 out of 10 and says it would take 30 to 50 hours. Now what makes this so hard is the last step of it. You have to play on hard mode going for a 100% run under 10 hours. And you can't use any sub weapons against the bosses. I'm not sure what sub weapons are, but they probably make the game easier, and without them it's probably just much harder. The rarest trophy for this game is one called Let's Go Together. Watch the ending with the entire cast present. In order to fulfill this, you need to do like an extensive list of all these objectives that they have here in a guide that I'm not going to get into. But an example of some are just to beat the game under 40 hours, under 20 hours, under 10 hours, and that's just to unlock some of the things you need. Collect every map, stuff of that nature. And the list goes on and on and on. The number 3 spot is a game called Battle Fantasia. This is a 9.5 out of 10 and says it would take you 25 to 40 hours. It's a fighting game, so that's pretty basic. If you've played the Blaze Blue or Guilty Gear series, this is the same developer apparently. So for this, you have to complete arcade mode on very hard. I can't say how hard that actually is because I haven't played it, but I mean, it's got to be difficult if it's named very hard. You also have to obtain 6 minutes or less in the time attack mode. I think for this you just need to beat a certain amount of enemies in under a certain amount of time. The trophy guide says you should be aiming to clear a fight in 20 seconds. And I suck at fighting games, so I would have no chance at this. You also need to get 30 victories in a row in survival mode. And if I tried this, I would probably be on win number 29 and find a way to lose. Just like when I'm doing a Super Meat Boy runs and I'm 1 level off the no death run and I die. I'll never play this game. I hate fighting games. Let's move on. This next game is really crazy. It's kind of interchangeable to be the number 5 spot, but I put it here at the number 4 spot for a reason we'll get into in a minute. But the game is called Earth Defense Force 2025. I'm pretty sure this is exclusively a PS3 game, so unless you have a PS3, I don't think you can even go for this anymore. I'm not sure if it's still obtainable at this point or not. But the difficulty is an 8 out of 10, but it takes 400 hours. The thing about this game is, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, you can't just play the game on the hardest difficulty and unlock like the previous difficulty trophies on like in most games. Here, you have to play through the game on normal, and then you have to play it on hard, and then you have to play it on hardest, which is not even the hardest, and then you have to play it on Inferno, which is the true hardest difficulty. And if you're not playing the game in offline co-op mode, split screen, basically you're gonna double the time that you need for this. Because there's different classes within the game, and if you don't have someone to play with or the offline co-op mode or whatever, then you're just gonna have to play through it again and again and again, and I don't know about all that, man. I can't do that. As for the actual difficulty of like that Inferno, I'm not sure how hard that is. The trophy guide doesn't describe it to be anything like really crazy, but it is the hardest difficulty. I'm sure it's challenging. And once you're done with all the difficulties, you have to do like all these enemy kills and weapons trophies where you should gotta get a certain amount of kills on a certain type of enemy. Like, what is he? It says 12,000, 20,000. Like, this stuff is crazy. Can't see myself ever going for a game like this. This is way too grindy, way too difficult. I am cool. And at the number 1 spot, here we are. This game is called Time Crisis Raising Storm. It's a 10 out of 10 and takes over 100 hours. Have you ever been to like a Dave & Buster's and you've seen like those point and shoot games where you pick up the gun and you shoot at the things, right? And you point, right? That's what this is, but on the PS3 with the PS3 Move controller or whatever that was. The reason I have this at the last spot is just because it says a 10 out of 10. Although the previous game was 400 hours, it was an 8 out of 10. So this one is a 10 out of 10, 100 plus hours. I think it deserves the number 5 spot. I don't think you can even get this platinum anymore because apparently the online mode is very unpopular. Good luck finding a man to play this. You might have to like go buy this with your friend. Hey bro, you want to get the platinum with me for this game? That's probably the only way you can do it if the servers are even still up. I'm not sure if they are. It doesn't say that they're off here on the trophy guide. I'm sure that it would have included that. So you got to do some online trophies, got to do some regular story mode trophies, nothing too crazy, right? That's until you get to step 5. The guide describes it as the hardest section of the game. If there's any part which will stop you from getting platinum, this is it. There are trophies for getting headshots where you have to clear sentry mode with 80 headshots or more. Another one where you have to clear all stages in sentry mode with a score of 100,000 points and an accuracy of 70%. And keep in mind, you're using a PS Move controller, whatever it's called. You think you can be accurate with that? There's a trophy for scoring a perfect on all sentry mode stages. In order to do this, you have to kill every prisoner. You might think that's simple, but it's not, because they run around the screen and you have to headshot them in order to kill them. If you don't headshot them, it'll take 3 shots to kill them, but obviously that's like, you're wasting time. If you can't hit headshots, you're not as efficient. So it seems like what really makes this difficult is having that dead shot accuracy with the PS Move controller. Obviously, you would need to get a feel for how this feels, right, before you can actually say, oh, this is hard, this is easy. But I'm going with the trophy guide. It says a 10 out of 10. I've played those games at Dave & Buster's and I'm not too good at them. I always die before I can ever finish it. Probably harder with the Move controller, and it takes 100+ hours. I think this deserves the number 5 spot. So while these games were insanely difficult, I also made a video where I talked about 5 platformers that were impossible. Even after playing Super Meat Boy, I'm scared to try these. If you haven't seen the video, you can press it here to watch.